Bueno, estamos listos para parte 2, que es sobre los objetos indirectos y sus pronombres, que ustedes ya aprendieron sobre los objetos directos y sus pronombres al final de Español 101, en lección 5, si necesitan repasar en el v-text. Pero ahora vamos a hablar de los objetos indirectos y sus pronombres. Ustedes ya saben un poco de los objetos indirectos y sus pronombres porque ya han usado estos con el verbo gustar, como me gusta, te gusta, le gusta, etc. Pero quiero explicar que un objeto indirecto contesta la pregunta a quién, o sea, en inglés, an indirect object is going to answer to whom or for whom an action is done. So, for example, le compro el cinturón a mi papá. ¿A quién le compro el cinturón? A mi papá. So here we see that we can use, and I'll explain a little bit more in detail in a moment, we can use both the pronoun and the indirect object in the same sentence, where typically we found out we don't do that with direct objects and their pronouns. So, you know, I'm buying the belt for my dad. Who are you buying the belt for? For my dad. So for my dad is the indirect object pronoun. Los objetos indirectos, not directos, sino indirectos. And let me see if I can change that. Right now, dame un momentito. Perdón. Ahora, indirectos. Son me, te, le, nos y les. Acuérdense que no repasamos la forma de vosotros, que se usa solamente en España, os. Y algo que es diferente que los objetos directos es que se puede usar el pronombre con el objeto. So we can see that we can have our pronoun le and the object a mi papá in the same sentence. Le compro el cinturón a mi papá. Okay, so where do we put these pronouns? Okay, los pronombres y dónde los ponemos. Actually, these pronouns are going to go in the same spot where we put our direct object pronouns. So this is a good review of where those go. A, enfrente de un verbo conjugado. So if we only have one verb and it's conjugated, that pronoun, that me, te, le, nos, or les, is going to go out in front of the verb. One verb conjugated, it goes out in front. ¿A quién le compras la blusa? Yo les regalo los zapatos a mis primos. Okay, so we see that the le goes in front of the compras and the les goes in front of regalo. Our second place that we can put them, B, al final de un verbo infinitivo, que forma parte del verbo infinitivo. So it can attach itself to an infinitive. So después de comprarle la blusa, voy a ir al cine. Antes de regalarles los zapatos, tengo que envolverlos. So we can see that here I only had one infinitive in that clause. So if we look at the clause, después de comprarle la blusa, the le has to attach to the end of the infinitive. There's only one verb, it's an infinitive. The same thing with antes de regalarles los zapatos. Again, in that clause, we only have the one verb, regalar. It's infinitive, so it attaches. Pero a veces hay un verbo conjugado con un verbo infinitivo, entonces hay dos puestos posibles. So we have seen times where we will have two verbs. One is conjugated, one is in the infinitive. Like, voy a comprar la blusa. And if I'm using a direct object pronoun to refer to whoever it may be, I can go back to a enfrente de un verbo conjugado, le voy a comprar la blusa, or les voy a regalar los zapatos. But since I also have an infinitive, I can attach it to the end. Voy a comprarle la blusa. Voy a regalarles los zapatos. There's no difference. It's a matter of choice. I have noticed over time, generational, regional, that it depends on, where the person is from, what generation they're in, as to whether they put the pronoun out in front or they attach the pronoun to the end. So I want you to be familiar with both. If you feel more comfortable putting it out in front when you're writing a complete sentence, feel free to go ahead and do that because it is perfectly grammatically correct. Se al final de un gerundio. So in 101, you learned about the present progressive where you have the form of estar with the present participle or gerund, which ends in ando or yendo. So we have estoy comprando, estoy regalando. So we can attach it to the gerund. Estoy comprándole la blusa. Estoy regalándoles los zapatos. But notice that we put an accent mark over the a in ando. And if it was yendo, it would be over the e in yendo. And you can see that in blue at the bottom. Otra vez, hay dos verbos, un verbo conjugado y un gerundio. Hay dos puestos posibles. So just like the infinitives, we do have two verbs. We have our conjugated form of estar with the present progressive, or the present participle, I apologize, the gerund. So we could attach or put the pronoun out in front of our form of estar. So we could say, le estoy comprando la blusa, or we can say, estoy comprándole la blusa. We can say, les estoy regalando los zapatos, or we can say, estoy regalándoles los zapatos. Again, you will have that option of in front or attaching. And these are the same placements as we saw in the direct object pronouns. Okay. Well, that's the explanation for indirect object pronouns. Remember, they answer the question to whom or for whom something is done. Avísenme si tienen preguntas y espero que tengan un buen día. Adiós.